Hey guys, what's going on? This is Deadly. Welcome back to another episode of Ask Deadly number 22. This is the weekly show where I read your guys' comments and do my best to respond to them or talk about them. So let's get started. First question comes from Ezak CSGO. Do you think that they'll ever add a global chat into DayZ standalone? Yeah, actually there is. In the DayZ mod, there was a global chat. It was that blue side chat, but it was disabled on some servers but enabled on others. That chat and the global chat, the side chat, the admin chat system is still very much in DayZ standalone. It's just disabled. So I can imagine down the road that they will give server owners the ability to enable or disable the side chat depending on what kind of server and community they want to run. Next question comes from Mr. Standalone. Deadly, hey, do you think once modding is introduced into DayZ Standalone, DayZ will get more popular than the DayZ mod in Arma 2? Also, what things specifically do you think would bring that big of a community back to DayZ? I think modding is definitely going to be bringing a lot of people back. Everybody, to my knowledge, still very much cherishes their Arma 2 DayZ mod days. They were some of the most fun gaming moments that I can ever remember, and I think I can say that safely for a lot of others as well. And there's still a lot of people who play DayZ. If you include the Arma 2 mods, the Arma 3 mods, and DayZ Standalone itself, it's actually got a pretty sizable concurrent player base even today. So all these myths about DayZ dying and things like that, comparing to all of the other survival games out there, DayZ is actually holding up quite nicely after over 3 years of standalone development and actually just reaching its 5th year actually this year of just DayZ in general being a thing. I'm going to say it's definitely possible that once DayZ Standalone has enabled modding and we're closer towards like feature complete, the game actually being done, I do believe that people will be coming back to DayZ Standalone to see its potential. And of course, with the modding community coming back into the fray, there is a lot of potential, but I don't know if DayZ will ever get to be as big as it was in 2012. It just had such a massive impact on not only PC gamers, but the whole like gaming industry as a whole. It basically spawned the survival MMO genre from nothingness. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's ever going to get back to that state, but hopefully someday it will. Next question comes from Sweeking. What are your opinions on base building? A lot of people share some pretty crazy opinions about this topic. Some people believe it's going to destroy DayZ once it gets enabled. I think that's a little bit overly dramatic. But I want to kind of meet somewhere in the middle. Everybody who has played the DayZ Overpoch or Epoch mods knows how ridiculous base building can be with the massive towers and structures that players build in the most outrageous places. It needs to be believable. I think it needs to be immersive. So that's why in all of the base building art you've seen so far, most of it is like towers that have a lot of different counter positions, so they're not impenetrable. Like log walls and tents still and barrels and camo nettings and things like that. I think it's going to be more camp oriented and more or less trying to hide your supplies in a really cool location rather than trying to build this massive impenetrable fortress. So I still very much believe that hiding your camps is going to be something that will continue in DayZ, and as it should, because it's just kind of part of the DayZ experience is finding those camping tents, finding those barrels, and building a secret location where you can store your stuff away and actually relax. And whenever those like locations get found, it just adds to the drama and the immersion. So I really hope they keep it limited, but by no means are they it's gonna destroy the game. It's probably gonna bring a lot of people back actually from the Epoch mods. Next question comes from Cole Stewart. I have about 900 hours in DayZ, and yet I'm still very bad with the AKM. I have a hard time gauging the shot speed and was wondering if you have any tips. I don't think a lot of people can consider themselves extremely skilled with the AKM. It's one of those weapons that does take a lot of practice, but the inconsistency of recoil control and especially the current desync and lag, it's going to make it very difficult to use in like CQB or any sort of burst fire situation. The AKM is best suited with a hand grip bipod, a PSO optic, a magazine, possibly even a drum mag for laying down support, and a suppressor, and single tapping. and single firing the weapon. And you can't switch it on to single fire, you just have to manually do it with your mouse. But that's really where the AKM is the strongest, as that DMR position, and not so much the CQB. Because I don't know about you guys, but I've been in situations where I've been point blank with a person and I'm full autoing with the AKM, and the next thing that you know, I'm shooting over the dude's head and I die. It happens to us all. So I would say practice makes perfect, but use it more of like a mid-range sniper rifle more than like an assault rifle. And I think you'll have a little bit better experiences with it. Next question comes from Kyle. What type of servers do you play on, and where do you find the most players? I play on first-person servers that are full, typically European or British servers, because of the time I play in, it's too early in the morning for US servers to be popular. And I find most of my players around the Storoi, Goglovo, Novi Stari area. That probably has the highest density of player base at the current moment. Next question comes from Callum. I'm guessing you've had this question before, but what do you estimate the full release of DayZ, or at least do you think modding will be added? Well, I don't know. I'm not a developer, and I don't really talk to the developers at all. Sometimes they stop by the live stream, but that's about it. So I have no inside information about the game's development. So I basically know as much as you guys, but hey, I'm always down for some guesses. I would say probably full release, feature complete. I would say like something like late 2018. That's what I can imagine. Maybe like early 2019. This game still has quite a ways to go, and I mean that in the best possible way. There is so much that we want added to the game, it's probably going to take that long. Modding, I'm hoping modding by the end of the year. I really think the developers should strive for that. But the modding can't get enabled until beta phase, so we'll just have to see how that goes. Next question comes from Mr. Dick Dangles. Also, thank you for subbing, dude, and thank you for showing some support on the channel. Do you feel that there's enough different weapons in DayZ? Only been playing for a little bit, but I feel like I've used them all. Well, we are spoiled in the DayZ community when it comes to survival MMOs. There are really only two competitors to DayZ right now, Miscreated and H1Z1 Just Survive. And if you compared, or you combined both of the quantities of weapons in those games together, comparing to DayZ, I think DayZ outnumbers it still quite drastically. So we have a lot of weapons and a lot of attachments and choices when it comes to the DayZ weaponry. And we already know that there's a lot more guns coming down the road. So I think we're in a pretty good position right now. A few more weapons would be nice, like the PKM and the M249 and the Scout Sniper and the CZ550. But, you know, we're getting to the point where it doesn't necessarily matter. I'm happy when they add new stuff, but it's not really required comparing it to other games out there. DayZ is already the king of that. Next question comes from Kazumi. Is there an easy way to understand where you are in game and tell which direction you're going? The sun will always rise in the east, either northeast or southeast as well, depending on the season and the time in game, and that's just up to the server that you're on. So in general, the sun will always rise in the east and set in the west. So if you know it's about to be nighttime, you can use the sun as a kind of a general understanding of where you need to travel on the map. But for everything else, I would say road signs, using an offline map like on your cell phone or a second monitor, getting the map up there, and whenever you're lost, look for the road signs and find where you are on the map. And also landmarks like the Green Mountain Tower, the Altar Tower, other different big buildings and big mountains and locations, and using those to determine where you are on the map is really important. I would just say time and just getting used to playing in different areas. Eventually you'll understand how it works. That goes for any video game out there. The best way to learn a map, even if it's a big one and it's very intimidating, is just by playing and starting to remember and recognize landmarks. Next question comes from Jadzim. Do you have some clips with the VSS Ventores? Yes, I do. You can just go to my channel and in the search bar type VSS Ventores, or just type in DeadlySlob VSS and it should come up. I have a few videos with the gun, but not that many. I actually picked up a VSS Ventores today, so hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll be able to get some clips with it. Next question comes from Alex. Hey Deadly, ever think about doing a little vlog series like MSTV uploaded this week? I mean, I would love to, but I don't think I live an exciting life for the most part, or one that wouldn't really make much sense to make a vlogging series. For the most part, my day is waking up, feeding the cat, and if I can, grab something to eat for breakfast, which is rare, turn on the live stream, stream for about 5 or 6 hours, stop the live stream, make sure, again, check the food and water for the cat, grab myself like a snack or something to eat for lunch, come back to the computer, sit down, edit today's video. Once that video is done, then I hit the render button. And if I'm not being lazy, usually whenever a video is rendering, that's when I go and get some exercise. I do some light workouts, things like that. And then once that is done, the video is done rendering, I upload the video, I create the thumbnail for the video. And then if I'm lucky, grab something to eat for lunch. And then at that point, it's probably like 6, 7, or 8 p.m., sometimes even later than that, it just depends. And from there, I'm either hanging out with Shelby, which is something, it's, family, so it's not something I really want to upload to my YouTube channel, or just sitting down and possibly either reading comments or playing some games or catching up on the news or watching TV or doing something different, not really playing DayZ. So that is kind of the average life of DeadlySlob there in a nutshell. If I actually move locations or do something a little bit more exciting, like travel, for instance, I am interested in making some vlogs for that.